G'day everybody, Alan Andres here, founder of ZuCoins and ZuCas. Running a few minutes late, but I'm sure that we've got everybody on board. This is a big one today. Today it's ZuTime, my time's your time, and we have a massive update for everybody, which is why I wanted to share this with you. So firstly, episode 21. This is episode which is called Soft Launch Turbo. This is the turbo we're going to reveal to you now, and the process is what we're doing. So just before we start, episode 21 is going to be the last episode in season 1. So we've had 21 episodes. My intention was to create this as a season viewing where everything and anything about the organisation, about me, background, about the trolls, about all those wonderful things, our thoughts, our visions, our dreams, all about where we want to see ZuCoins is now in 21 episodes. So that if you care to take the time, then certainly you will find the answers in each and every one of those episodes that I have deliberately set up for that program. So first, let's jump in. Let's make this, this is where we start to kick ass now. This is where we have been waiting for. So we are going to make sure that each and every wallet is out and about in the month of November. So we've got a rollout plan for everybody now, but every single wallet will be out there for people to touch and feel and enjoy in the month of November. And a lot of that program, we set some deadlines, making sure that they're all active, 100% active by the end of November. And that's entirely up to you if that comes forward for all those people that receive the wallets and how quickly we work our way through that. So the first part is that this is the season finale, episode 21, which today's date is the 12th of October, 2021. All that action starts from this afternoon. So we're looking at least, we think, up to 100 wallets between now and the end of the month. So they're all randomly done. You know, we've got country jurisdictions. We've checked all that database through. No problems whatsoever. You will get them. And if you run into trouble, now let's just come to the first part. We don't want 2,500 emails coming through because people have got problems. What we want you is to go back to season 1 episodes and seek the answers. Do a bit of homework yourselves. Don't just sit back and think that, you know, here we are and we've got our spare time to be going through any issues that come up as a result of the wallets. Because guess what? The team is flat out busy. While you're busy with doing the wallets, we're busy getting the marketing strategies actually activated and in place, and also with our simulators. And that we're all about the massive onboarding that's going to take place post the end of November. So if you have trouble with the wallet, for example, let's recap. Go back to episode 17, special edition, live wallet demo. It covers off on the worst experiences we've had being with iPhones. Just follow that process in terms of the installation, in terms of the way in which you put the icon on your homepage. Once it's on the homepage, you press the little button, and then you're into activate, and then you're into the send functions, and you just go around. Now, we haven't changed since we started this that it's going to be 10 coins, 5, 10, everybody across the board. They're your bonus ones. Some people may want to sit on them and hold them because 10 coins can turn into a lot of money. Others will want to send some fractions out and play with it. The idea is that you get to play with it so that you don't mess up when all of the coins that you're entitled to hit your straps as soon as the very last wallet is activated. Okay? Very important. So you'll be able to organize yourselves with that. We don't expect to hear from anybody right through until the very last wallet is activated. We don't want to hear from anybody, to be honest, because we put a lot of time and effort and money into everything you see, everything you need to know about what ZuCoins is all about with my deliberate rollout of 21 episodes, each one in sequence. And I'll do a little recap just to close off today on that as well. So end of this month, we're going to be pumping out between now in the end of October. We think we'll get about 100 out, up to 100 wallets. That's just so that the first few can taste that. And then we're looking at a rollout of the balance right through so that you guys get plenty of time in the month of November to do exactly what I've just said. Enjoy the wallets, activate, and away you go. Now, it's crucial that that happens. If there's some stragglers, then certainly we've got some plans in place that if it's not all activated by the 30th of November, then there'll be some of those people will have a few troubles in getting their main allocations in that first week of December. This is post the 10 coins, okay? It'll have to sit in abeyance, and we'll have to work with those people one-on-one without derailing everybody else from getting all of their coins and everything in place. So turbocharge now. The clock starts ticking, and this is the rollout plan. We've given plenty of opportunity and time. So as I said, don't flood the emails with your problems. Flood the videos. The videos cover everything. Now, in terms of the live demo, as I said before, we haven't done a live demo on the Android because it's too bloody easy. There's only a couple of buttons to press there. When you get into it, you've got to press the Android blue button, and it'll take you cleanly through the process that you need so that you can get that icon on your homepage for Android, and the rest of it's a piece of cake after that. Now, while you're busy doing all that with everybody, that's the entire wallet database, we are going to be busy with things like pushing out, as I said, marketing strategies, activating our US lawyers and advisors, etc. The mentioned in the episode 20 yesterday that we're going to be looking through the relationships and getting ready preparations for the APIs with Beatrix Global. And as I said, that takes 3 to 6 weeks tops to get that fully operational with the APIs from the time of the last wallet being active. All right. So you're across that, you know exactly where you stand with the coins being tradable on the exchange. So as far as the Android goes, again, just review the material, the video on what we did for iPhone, and your instructions are a lot simpler. You should have no problems with the Android side of it. Apple's been a bit of a pain, but let's get through that with people. Now, we're looking at the batching of the rollout of the wallets. We're probably looking at about 500 a week, which will close it off towards the end of November. And that'll give people plenty of time that we can monitor and track the logs, etc., for those rollouts. Do not panic if you're not in the first few. Do not panic if you're in the last few. It's all randomly done, and everybody will have their wallet at some stage between now, as I said, and that last week of November, 30 November max, tops. If you can't work it or operate it, then don't panic. We will put you into a separate little file, and everybody else will get their major coin allocations post the 10, and you guys, the rest of you, will have to work one-on-one with you, which we're not looking forward to. We don't want to be working with, 200 or 300 people one-on-one. So do a bit of your own program and due diligence back to the videos that I've spent my time every day, being 21 business days straight, to make sure that we have these things in play. Now, that's where we're at. That's what's happening. We don't need flooding emails. Where's my wallet? Your wallets are there and coming through that process. So don't go bothering support if you're sitting there waiting and you're 2 or 3 weeks out, because other people will have got it. All right? So that's a couple of rules. Do your own homework. Get out there, read, look at the videos, particularly episode 17. Crucial. Once you've done your own homework and research, play with the wallet. Enjoy it, use it, and follow through to the processes that I did in that live demo. Now, during that month, the team, I'll be producing another live, two live demos. One will be on the backup, and the other will be on restoring your phone. So if you blood up your ass, at least you're going to lose 10 coins. You're not going to lose your entire fortunes. That's the objective. Once you get the whole lot there, of course, don't ring me. That's the end of it. Gone. I can't press that enough. Let me say it again. Gone. Blown up your ass. So test it with the 10 coins. They're live. They'll be real. There they are. And away you go. Now, we'll make sure that you get educated through these, me doing another live videos on, of course, the backup. So don't panic. Don't panic about the backup. It's going to be simple. And secondly, of course, the restore. So you'll be able to restore it and you're back up and running again. Magically, it all happens. Looking fantastic. So that's the turbo news that I'm pumped about. I can't wait with it. Excited. We've been inundated because of obviously where this is going to lead to. The crypto market space is hot, absolutely hot, and we're going to come smack bang in the middle of it. That's that big tsunami that I talk about. Look out. Don't stand on the beach. We're all coming. So that's going to be the big stuff on that front. And as a result of that, we've managed and done everything we wanted to do with all these processes that we've deliberately set up with the teams. We're not giving away any more coins. Certainly, there's people doing private deals, which is going to be great. So, you know, as a decentralized platform, that's what that's all about. You do what you like. And, of course, I indicated in yesterday's episode, we've got one crew up north, Queensland, and they've got a 75 kilowatt solar system completely funded on buying and selling between each other some ZuCoins. That's the entitlement to ZuCoins. It's not even actually the coin yet. That's just saying that he's got X number of coins. Would you take X number of coins for putting up this 75 kilowatt solar system, which looks magnificent? And I think support's going to send out a little picky of that, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to see all these side deals happening of people transferring coins of value for goods and services that I've talked about. So that's a very important part of that process, which looks great. So as a result of that, our treasury supplies now are focused solely on the liquidity side. I'm concerned about the supply side. So I will be revealing some more information about the lead up to the exchange listing on Bittrex. I mentioned about the market makers. We now have a couple of market makers. We've got 3 actually around the world. They're all pretty excited. So we are containing some of our treasury supply for that listing to fill that void that's going to be needed. And as a result of that, not too keen on moving forward as of today. We made internal management decisions that on the 25th of October, so that's the Monday in a couple of weeks, on the 25th of October, the price for our treasury of any of those future sales, which we're not keen on pushing out anymore, will be 100 Aussie dollars per coin. So that's, you know, if you've been happy and you've locked in on the earlier prices, congratulations. We're not keen on anything. I've talked about the values. I've given you my thoughts. You can go back to the episodes. What I think, it may not be what you think or anyone else thinks, but we don't give a stuff. It's what I think. And therefore, on the back of that, on the 25th of October, any of those sales that happen, they'll all be on the website, rejigged at $100 Aussie. And, of course, that'll go into a live feed from the exchange when we list as a result of that completion of the API. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the guts of the entire episode 21, which means that I've now completed where I wanted everything to be. I'll do a recap in a minute, but from here, I'm not looking to be talking to you guys live until the 15th of November. So I'm going to have a bit of a live break. That's from the video live broadcast on It's ZuTime until the 15th of November, because guess what? We're too busy. You've got everything will be funneling through to you with the wallets. You'll be busy doing your wallets and sending things around. And we're counting on you not to have any problems. We're counting on you guys to, you know, take the time to look at the videos. Don't go blaming others if you can't say or find information. We're not on social media. You've just got some broadcasts there that you've seen. Absolute nonsense, wasted time. I put the energy and the time into those videos. So in that period, we are absolutely flat out with now unraveling all of our marketing strategies, getting ready for the listings, the APIs. There's a lot of work. There's a ton of work going on. So taking this time each day won't be productive whilst you guys are busy with your wallets. So I've called that season 2. Season 2 of the It's ZuTime will recommence on the 15th of November. Now, there'll be those people who'll say Alan's missing. He's not there because they don't bother watching the video. Well, bad luck. If you don't want to watch the video and get the dates and times, don't go around waffling on about where's Alan. I'm telling you where is Alan. Alan is here, and Alan won't be back till the 15th of November. So let's hope we got that clear. And that's the season 2. Now, season 2 is a different format. There will be the release of the live demos for backup, which is the technical side, and the restore that I talk about. More importantly, it's going to focus very much on the powerhouse split chain technology, the engine of what that means in a real techo sense, and bringing to your attention the great man, Robert Novak, will be certainly online, live, and ready to put the naysayers to bed. They can start digging their little graves, these blokes, because this bloke's come out of the blocks, and it's going to be pretty impressive. So that season 2 is very tech-centric because all the other stuff's covered, what you see. And we'll be boring you to death with some high-level tech stuff because people just don't, they can't get their heads on it. They just don't understand. I mean, a couple of those little wombats out there, those woodies that I talk about, it's very intriguing because those little blokes, they think, oh, gee, we can post some of the code and it's not decentralized, because we've got the wallet. Well, here's a news burst, you rabbits. The fact is that the code's meant to be open source, and contained in there is the 2 components. One's the wallet, which is centralized. The wallet itself is centralized. Anybody can build a wallet. I've said that the other day. We hope millions of people build ZuCoin wallets. Fantastic. Awesome stuff. But the core, the split chain, which is in the code, that is the decentralized part. So I'm not a coder, but gee, come on. You need to read the code. That's what it's all about. So let's get all the techo stuff out, guns blazing, from the 15th of November. Can't wait for that. That's the time where we start to smile on the other side, because that's the time I've been waiting for, let alone you getting the wallets. Now, before I go, season 1 has finished. I think you've all been provided with an extraordinary amount of information from me that covers off on everything I've wanted to share, that's on public record and available for all and sundry. So you can do your due diligence on the back of that, So let's look at the recap. Episode 1 was about your wallets. Won't go to that because we were providing the beginnings of the journey of where the wallets are up to and our reasoning behind the things we've done in a soft launch. Best thing we ever did. I never regret 1 minute of it. Thank you to Mate Tokay and Sam Volkering, guns that have been in the business for a long, long time, and we took their counsel and advice, the best advice we've had, because the journey makes it so much more pleasant as we get to our real objectives to see this thing take on Bitcoin. Episode 2. Now, that was about crypto values generally. These are my thoughts. They were there on the table so that you can get an overview of how I see the crypto market and space. Now, I've ticked the boxes and said, I think Bitcoin is one of the greatest things ever because of the technology. Now, I'm not the only one that's in that position. The reality is you can see that with the way in which the world has shifted, and the big companies, Bank of America, you've got the regulators, they're all starting to use blockchain. Well, they just took a bit of time to realize it. We were on the money 4 years ago. The moment we knew that Splitlock could have data fragmentation and bust that data down, get rid of the big block, lumbering around a huge block. What do you need that for? You just need the fractions. You just need the balancing. And as long as you don't have double counting, you're laughing. That's what Splitlock and ZuCoin is all about. So I shared that with you. That led into episode 3, my views on the short term. So we got an independent body to come in, gruel all over the place, called Zangle. And there's reports. They're all there. You can read all that stuff. Put up the legal advices. We stand by it. 3 jurisdictions, 4 coming, USA, end of November. You wait and see. It's going to be one of the great stories in terms of ZuCoins not being a security, caught out with the Howey test, all that stuff. because it's truly decentralized, more so than Bitcoin can ever be decentralized. Don't get me wrong. Let's hope Bitcoin goes to $500,000 a coin. That'll put a few bunnies to bed, because guess what? There's only one coin that's going to compete with it. That's ZuCoins technology. So we shared the Zangle report. It's all there. You can look it up. And they give you a rating. And we started initially on that rating because we never had the system out there. We went with the soft launch, from a triple C, so highly speculative. We got upgraded to a B minus, and now we've got a B plus. Now, by the end of the time of the launch at the end of November, we've got high expectations of that, even though that is out of the speculative category according to their credibility ratings. It's more into now where it's an asset class. But, Bitcoin's at A double plus. That's for the sort of numbers we want. So that was the short-term value to give you an idea of all of the things they consider. Now, you get downgraded because you don't have a big team. We don't want a big team. We don't need $50 million floating around out there funding all the IT development. We talked about the process with in a subsequent episode about easy bonds, how important that was, that you don't need when you're processing payments, which we know the industry backwards, that you don't need those payments. So as a result of those transactions, you don't need the money remittance licenses. You don't need $50 million. You don't need annual fees of $6 million. That's the nature of our business. But that can downgrade you on the credibility ratings. I then moved into episode 4. This was a real ripper. This was about my long-term view. Say it again. You got 2 products, A and B, 2 apples. They look the same. Do they taste the same? Who knows? But guess what? You can compare them. That old saying, apples for apples. Bitcoin on one hand, ZuCoins on the other. Better technology. And you will see that powering its way through now with where we're at. Now, as a result of that, we've got a long-term view, my long-term view. Again, I don't give a stuff what anybody else thinks. I go to the advisors. We make sure it's legally backed up. We make sure it's compliant. We go through the rigors of what we want to see globally. Hence, that's why it's phone to phone, mobile phone to mobile phone. And then we go back in history, and history tells us you can look at these things like fiat currency, and you can now manage that into the mathematics and the economics with crypto. And you've got what's called quantity theory of money. Look it up. There's a simple formula, and that formula revolves around mass adoption, transactions, and the way in which the velocity of those transactions move within that ecosystem. It's not hard. You don't need to be Albert Einstein to get your head around it. Just deliver on those variables. Loved it. I love physics when we're looking at physics. But you don't need to worry about it in this instance. That's my long-term view. And at the end of the day, compress all that. You got your apples and apples comparison. And that episode will say to you, Al Andres says, if you've got 21 million coins over there and you've got 100 million over there, it's a better product. For me personally, then my view is it's got to be 20% of whatever Bitcoin is. You can take it or leave it. We're not here a charity. We're not giving away things. We're building momentum. That was the view on episode. Look at that episode again. Refresh yourselves and then reach your own conclusion. But as I say, anything in life is a risk. Everything's a risk. Life's a risk. So I'm a risk taker. That's what I do. I've talked about that with the strategies I've had in marketing. People laugh sometimes and say, he's into racehorses. Well, there's good reason. It's one of the best marketing organisational businesses on the planet. If it's good enough for Queen Elizabeth, it's good enough for Al. Because of the connections and people you deal with and the businesses and the owners. If someone took and had a look, 17 billionaires last year have all got interest in thoroughbred racehorses. Why do I mention that? Because it's marketing. It's to do with the companies. But again, look at the risks. To get a Group 1 racehorse, alligator blood, be tenacious, resilient, never give up. Guess what? It was a 0.03% chance of winning a Group 1, and I won it. People giving us less chance on developing the world's first decentralized peer-to-peer network. Facebook, if you go to the white paper in Facebook, they've said it will take $1 billion and 5 years to build a decentralized network. Well, it's here. We didn't spend $1 billion. Might have taken 3 years, but not 5. So risk. Start from the premise. You blow it up your ass and you work your way through that. Because guess what again? We're all on the same goddamn friggin' train of life. Some stage you're going to get off. And that's the end of it. Enjoy it. Well, that enjoyment's coming. That enjoyment is going to be absolutely pumping and humming when people realise that out of Albury-Wodonga in Australia, halfway between Sydney and Melbourne roughly, comes one of the great IT development systems the world's ever seen. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be exciting. And you're on that journey. That was that episode. I then talked about the type of product lines that we're going to do through ZuCas. Now, anybody else can come up with a million other things using that code. Build it yourself. Do what you like. But in episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8, I've given you a taste of the thinking that we have as an organisation through ZuCas of the products we're going to use and build around and create more ecosystem for ZuCoins. Now, you may never use the bloody thing. Who cares? You know, when you look at the internet, or you've got 3.5 billion users of mobile phones, we've got plenty of friends. We don't need to have everybody as a friend. We have friends that will use the system because of the business opportunities we're providing. Virtual real estate. It's going to be massive. What does that mean? Massive turnover, massive traction, velocity of transactions. Remember the formula. That's the first one. Lotteries. Talked about lotteries. In fact, the other day, I just bought a book again, written in 1896, about the history of lotteries. The history of lotteries produced in 1896. Bloody thing goes back to the Egyptians. And people were bagging us out about saying introducing the concept. Well, the lottery is going to be an absolute phenomenal concept. It's going to be huge. That's why we're stuck with it. And if you look at that program and you say to yourself, transactions and coins, rewards, the whole thing, that's an incredible journey to be looking at as another product line. UDAs, we don't call them NFTs, non-fungible tokens, for God's sake. And I'll give you the dumbass version. You go and buy the thing. It sends you in the direction that it's on the blockchain as just a pointer. You know, that's giving you a web address, in fact, or something close to the URL. And it shoots you to another server and says, there's your picture. What happens if the server goes down? Gone. It's the end of it. And they're paying bucket loads of money for this stuff. Now, Bank of America comes out and says this is one of the greatest industries that's going to hit it. Digital assets. Of course it is. We produced a paper here in our office 2.5 years ago on the direction we wanted to be with UDAs, unique digital assets, fragmentations of data that preserves the integrity of the digital asset that's in your goddamn phone, like your wallet. Now, other people can build things around it, but the core, the split chain core, sensational. Wait and you see that turnover comes through on the platform. And then, of course, you've got the vouchers themselves, the whole ZuCas model, the business model. Money, instead of advertising money going down the toilet with the aggregators and stealing your data, you can retain the data. You can certainly produce your own ads as a business. 3-dimensional, augmented reality, spinning caps, away you go. All that sort of stuff comes in, and guess what? It means more turnover. Again, transactions, velocity, movement, coins, buying and selling in that ecosystem. Just like the guys that have just done the deal on the solar panels. 75 kilowatt solar panels, purely picked up for coins. Young yearling that we purchased, all in coins. And he looks an absolute ripper. And guess what his name is? I named him for that very reason. Now, his sire, just digressing a little bit here, but give you an indication of the power of what I see, which I put into the names of our horses, my horses with the syndicate. Easy Bond's number 1, under the alligator blood colours. Never give up. Now, the horse name is from a sire called Rich Enough. Well, guess what he's called? He's called Rich Again, because that's what we're going to be, rich again, which led into the other topics. I wanted to share with you because they go on about my background. Big deal. Everybody knows my background because I've been producing it on the web for the last 10 years. And then you get these wombats. Think they're clever, little baby boys and girls, out of preschool, want to play in the big pond. Now, we talked about crypto demographics in episode 9. I've shared with you the power of what can happen with micropayments. You can't send a small fraction. I don't care what you say about sending, $1.65 of Bitcoin, because on the transaction fees and the history and that, it'll go from anything from $2.76 US in fees through to $50. And take time to process. If you lose Lightning, that's a wonderful idea. Yeah, let's aggregate all of the transactions, put them in a funnel and push them down, and hopefully they hit the blockchain miners so that you can get some speed. Or you use a treasury stock. In other words, I'm holding some Bitcoin and I'll hold yours, and then I'll move the coins. The PayPal concepts. So think about the demographics that I talk about. Why? Because there are another 2 or 3 billion people worse off than you that want to get into this space and may only want to buy at a time $1 or $2 worth of crypto. And they can't because they're being killed by the fees. You can with ZuCoins. Now, you add up the numbers on that. If 1 billion people want to buy a fraction of the ZuCoin with no fees and instant transfer because it's done from phone to phone, there's only one thing that's going to happen. You don't need to be Albert Einstein to work the maths out on that. There's demand, the big D, demand. That's what it's all about. And then we had episode 10. Now, episode 10 was my favourite, Easy Bonds. Now, this was an absolute beauty. I wanted to share because I want to make sure that in that timeline now, it's not just the ZuCoin buyers, but by the end of that period, inclusive in that November period for all the wallets, all my loyal Easy Bond shareholders are getting rewarded. They've been on the books. We've sorted out 20 years of monies that have come in as a result of the Easy Bond project, and they're going to get rewarded. They're going to kick ass. That's the loyal ones. The duds out there that put a knife in my back, guess what? You're getting nothing. Zip. Wrote me off too early. Bad about that. That's why you always have alligator blood. Never give up. But the Easy Bonds, magnificent product, produced by a great software developer, Peter Hamilton. Been with me for 15 years. Why? Because it does fractional processing. It's ingenious. How do I know it's ingenious? Because some persons in the 15th century, it even goes back to the days the Romans decided double entry accounting was a great thing. Just a lazy man's exercise in how to record numbers. Get rid of double entry, single entry processing. Let the computer do the algorithms. It knows 1 + 1 = 2. It gives you more flexibility on your ledgers. When you're talking multi-currencies or multi-crypto, for example, guess what? One system's going to process those transactions because it can. And the banks know what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I'm talking about. The accountants know what I'm talking about. Double entry, fair income. People know what an asset is. They know what a liability is. You don't need the double entry to put that on a balance sheet. But you can record it far more superior in the way in which you build the software to treat those entries. That's Easy Bonds. And, of course, I mentioned in Easy Bonds, those that were out there, the Charles Scovilles. What a genius he was. He was good at marketing. He's in jail. But he writes a heap of crap about me and videos that they haven't taken down, and other, little rabbits out there, little woodies, see this thing about there's a scam in Easy Bonds. It's only a scam because the bloke that wrote it is in jail. They posted it. I talked about that first time, giving you all the information in relation to that. Talked about Easy Bonds, the company in London. 3 years before that new board took over and blew it up its ass. Terminated the contracts. Thought they were clever. Sean McShane, Anthony Liston, Phil Pryor and his wonderful wife, Helen, who introduced Scoville. Guess what? They got nothing. Thought they had me. And all of a sudden, the entire EasyBond software is residing with my trusts. We produced a report that went out to everybody, valued by BDO. Australian, $514 million book value. That's not going anywhere, but thank you very much. All my Christmases come at once when they went down that road, and they lost the company. So I was excited about that episode. It's an absolute winner. Put that on the table. Give some material. Not just going on about it. The reason it's all out there public is because every time we do a deal, there's due diligence that has to be done on our lenders. And if it's out there front and centre, there's your due diligence. There's nothing new. There's no other skeletons. Here I am. Which, of course, led me into cracker of an episode 11, asset protection. Not going to go on about it. Get it done. Just do it. Individual trustee of a trust, family trust, or a hybrid trust with units. You know, we go on about the tax. Pay the goddamn tax. Capital gains tax on crypto, 24 cents in the dollar. Wonderful thing. Because guess what? You pay the tax and you get the absolute pleasure and privilege of watching your MPs, your local MPs, blood up their ass and lose all your taxpayer money. It's incredible. Doesn't matter which side of politics you come from. They're the ones. They're the ones that are losing your money. You know, pink bats. Wonderful idea that was. 3 deaths, no one responsible. Manus Island, another great idea. Let's pay $80 million up front. Don't even sign a contract. Incredible. We then got into episode 12, crypto versus central bank digital currencies. It's here now. It's happening. Be careful. Don't go down that road. They've got enough surveillance on us now. Now, you don't mind giving them your information, but when it's required by law. We haven't quite lost all our rule of law yet. And do I know about that? Of course I do. Been 30 years in the courts. Every single court. There's not a court I haven't been in. And it's all the same. You hope like hell that the bloke, the judge, is a good guy. He's going to follow the letter of the law. He's going to work his way through it because you've got all the advisors. I've had all the best QCs in the country, the best top 5 law firms that put this material out. You know, if people forget about some of the things that I did in an earlier life. My company was the first company ever to look at a way legally of transferring franking credits. We did one massive deal. 6 months later, the government changed the law on premium accounts with shares. Not going to talk about it now, but we had every single advice, the highest QCs and Ernst & Young, and you follow the law. The trouble is, you get an independent adjudicator. He just doesn't quite like you, or he's just not quite sure that you're worthy of a victory, and away you go. Now, on balance, I've had my fair share of wins. Up until recently, they've had another loss, which we talked about with the House had to settle with the government, but they're getting their own back. Don't worry. The government's listening to this. Our lenders, I've got 3 more opportunities. Have a fair crack at the $4.3 billion in the High Court. I haven't stopped. So if you think it's gone quiet, just get ready for the tsunami because that's coming. It's a little pet topic. Now, when you look at that and you look at the central banks, your data, it's going to be sitting there. Every single goddamn thing you do. You won't be able to sneeze without buying a hanky, they know. Decentralisation. That's the world where we want to be. And if you do get issues, provide the information through the appropriate channels. Law enforcement, great. Get them to do the searches. Get them to do what they have to, as long as they get the warrants in court. Fantastic. But that's the difference between what I was putting up. Why Bitcoin is such an amazing, wonderful thing. Because it's putting some power back into the hands of you, the individual. Leveling that playing field a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Because the next time you go to court, you might get naughty. Justice Rushugi, one of the all-time great judges, falls asleep at 2 o'clock. Takes 6 years to come up with a decision. The Senate had to have an inquiry into why he's so late with his judgments. How one bloke spent 2 years in jail longer than he had to because the judge couldn't make up his mind. Eventually got out. That's the sort of judges you got to deal with. You know, I mentioned about the magistrate, the greatest market manipulator this country's ever seen, $5,500 fine. What happens? His wife was the investigator, but they never talked at night. They never mentioned a thing about me. Very important, if you can believe that. We then talked about episode 13, marketing and advertising. We've got the plans. We know what we're doing. We've got the databases to work with. And we're in there for the hodl to see all this start to come to fruition. You know, the journey. If I take one little snippet, people laugh about the horses. Greatest thing ever. Alligator blood, 945,000 views in one video. That's 945,000 more people at zero cost to us that are made aware of what we're doing with ZuCoins and the business. They've been made aware that ZuCas, the Australian Innovation Award for 2020, not because it put out a PDF, but because it made the damn thing work. One of the greatest augmented reality concepts ever, beyond Pokemon. Again, we don't invent stuff new. We just change it around a bit. Look at the lotteries. 1,569 was the first lottery in England. And we're going to get excited about this Saturday because another 20 million. Big deal. It's been around a long time. Marketing and advertising. There's ways of skinning the cat to minimise your outflow, but maximise the awareness. And in that awareness, one of the great awarenesses we tested was all these woodies, the trolls. I mean, they're one of the greatest bunch of losers you've ever seen. They promote, our rate rankings on the website since I last spoke to you, it's picked up another 50,000. You keep writing crap and it's fantastic because people want to know about the controversies. You know, I get a lot of intrigue because I can't believe that a bankrupt like myself and fighting to overturn that for the fourth time, because I only got one creditor, Australian government. This Friday we pay him another couple of $1 million. Annoys the hell out of me. Till I win the case for the $4.3 billion, which we've been in the budget, by the way, for 15 years as a risk to the entire Australian budget. Think about that. You don't produce that for no reason. There's a real fear factor. Because the government's got so much shit going on, as I said, the bureaucrats. Just piles and piles of shit, and all the blowies are coming in, the MPs. That's what they do. I talked about that. But again, it's all about marketing. And then FOMO. FOMO. Oh. What can I say? 2009, Bitcoin, I read you the article, was an absolute joke. It was either fraudulent, it was a fantasy, it was madness. People said it was nuts. It was even more nuts because no one knows who built it. You know who's behind ZuCoins. Here I am. Haven't changed my name. You know Robert's out there. But where the hell is Satoshi? Why is he hiding? One of the greatest blockchain concepts that every government now is embraced. Even through regulation, they're embracing it. It's not outlawed, blockchain. But FOMO. So I said there was 3 stages to my FOMO. You know, you had either fantasy or madness only as phase 1, or fraudulent or madness only. And that article I read in 2013 was reflecting upon that madness or fraudulent part of Bitcoin. And he refers to Bitcoin being at 1 cent. 1 cent. Then it jumped to $266 and fell back to 105. Oh my goodness, what a terrible drop that was. What a terrible drop. And then all of a sudden she's picked up and we're into real FOMO. Fast forward a couple of years. We're in the thousands of dollars. fear of missing out. And of course, everybody's fear of missing out. That hasn't gone away. You know, when I was playing with the social media and agitating people and getting them all excited to pick on me and get their responses, increase the traffic, which went well, you'll see some old tweets there. And I've got different levels in my own little thought world about Bitcoin. And you'll read them. And if you go back and search, you'll see what I said. Go long BTC, go longer ZuCoin. Have a look at that. Now, that's on public record. And that's at various stages. I think the last one before I turned off social media was around 33,000 US. Go long BTC, go longer ZuCoins. Yes, indeedy. And then, of course, you've got the regulators coming in, stealing all of the good stuff, all the good juices out of Bitcoin and Satoshi and the blockchain, and looking at centralized currencies, sucking it dry, putting it into the stock exchanges and things of the world so they can keep track of everything, looking at that as the efficiency part of the world. And then all of a sudden, FOMO changes again. And all of a sudden, for me, we're at the point now. You make the decision, you make the call. Decentralized or centralized, because it now stands for, quite simply, freedom over monetary obsession. That's what's happening. Freedom over monetary obsession. Now, there's a few other O words you could throw in there with that, because it's all about control. So look at that episode. Episode 15, we covered off on brand protection. Now, that's been crucial. Brand protection. Now, we talked about trademarks. Everything you see in our businesses is brand protected. ZuCoin, ZuCats, Easy Bonds, Split Chain, Split Lock. The list goes on. They're even telling me that I should start to look at trademarking my own name, because the whole world has changed in relation to protection of those brands, those names. We got into the next episode. Episode 16, ZuCoins and crypto laws. I provided you a backdrop to the things that we do in the different jurisdictions, how important it was to make sure that we had a solid, rock-solid foundation of what we're saying about ZuCoins, both in Singapore, Australia, Europe. And the testament to that, Beatrix Global wouldn't even look at you sideways if there was any due diligence issues. Pretty impressive when you think about my background that they go on about. Pretty impressive when you see the way in which the decentralization nature of it is so important and powerful, leading into the jewel in the crown, the US market. That's why Bitcoin's there. That's why they're in a position to trade the Bitcoin. Even now, we're close with the SEC saying ETFs are coming. Wait till that opens up. Derivatives, big time. It's already there in a number of exchanges, but that's another market in itself that puts the overall pressure on that little formula that we talk about. Quantity theory of money. MV equals PT. Think about that. Won't go over episode 17. That's the one you need to focus on. Episode 17, you're all getting these wallets. Get on to episode 17 and watch the damn thing over and over until you're bored shitless, because it gives you the opportunity to know what to do with your wallet when you get the SMS. Can't stress that enough. Don't get lazy. You know, we're not babysitters here. This is why we spent the time with these long live broadcasts. They're there for a reason. And that one, episode 17, is a big reason. You don't need to flood the email support in that regard. Episode 18. In crypto we trust, because you can't trust the politicians. That was the message I was sending then. We've got to put up with them. You vote them in, or you don't, and you get a whole batch of dimwits. And they don't know what's going on because the bureaucrats are running the show. So human input, third-party input, that's where you can't trust. You can't trust the bank, the debanking. You know, even in today's papers, there's articles about different industry sectors that have been closed down and debanking because the bank doesn't like people involved in the sex industry, for example. So bankers mustn't have sex. That must be what's going on because they do all these transactions. Now, they don't want to. They've taken a high moral road. What the hell's it got to do with them? The Constitution says that the people can trade amongst each other. Section 92, freedom between states. And what's happening? These poor buggers can't even open an account. Then the government's saying we're going to get rid of cash. Where's all that go? We're trusting them. And there's not enough people with the balls to go to the High Court to put it to the test, to protect your rights. What's the alternative? In crypto, we trust. Because guess what? There's a computer and it's got a set of instructions. It's got a code and that's all it does. And it'll start to evolve with AI and you'll get a bit smarter and realise that we're all dimwits. Because that code says every time there's a crypto transaction, 1 + 1 = 2. Not when you're dealing with government and politicians and even the judiciary. They seem to turn 1 + 1 into 7 whenever they like. Look at that episode. It comes back to your asset protection. Give yourself a fighting chance. Level the playing field. Crypto does that. Asset protection does that. Not because you've been a deviant. Just because you don't want to get burn your ass twice in one lifetime. Then you finally get off the station and that's the end of it. I'm going to heaven, but some of you may not. I know where I'm going, so I've got something to look forward to. This is just a train journey. Prove a point, get a few things out there, change the world before we all get off the train. Now, the way the politicians are going, maybe no trains left. Look at this mess that's happening with Taiwan. I mean, fair income. We haven't got enough canoes to defend Australia, let alone worrying about the might and power of China coming up our arse. You'd be kidding. Handful of boats. We can't even get the 250 tanks we got to Darwin. How the hell are we going to do that? Sensible. Be sensible. Start to protect your own little patch. The trading that can happen with crypto. If you love Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. But it's at 55, 57,000 US dollars today. Which led into Walt Disney, episode 19, one of my greatest topics. Walt, bankrupt, dead at 65, got off that early station. Created a $339 billion corporation. We watch the videos all the time. Now, half the politicians are in those movies. They're all animated characters. Goofy. How many goofies in Parliament are there? Donald Ducks. How many trolls out there? They're all in that category. Hiding behind anonymous names and things. Spooky. I mean, I had to laugh. I mean, I talked about this the other day, where I talked about, in that session, about trying to anonymously hide. The days are gone. I talked about the platforms now under the pump because of the High Court. People aren't bothering to sue the idiots. They're going straight for the platforms. That's where the money is. Go where the money is. So the platforms are going to have to shut them down. Little forums are gone. I mean, look at that stupid forum the other day on Telegram. It's in the paper today. Australian Securities Investment Commission secretly positioned itself in the platform because they were doing pump and dump schemes, the idiots. I mean, you can't even be funny about that stuff. You know, I got a $5,500 fine for doing what's called a deeming provision, transferring the same securities internally to raise money, and then get a $5,500 fine and conviction. And I got to put up with the idiots saying that I'm the greatest manipulator on the planet. You get these pump and dump sites. It's laughable. But guess what? ASIC's onto you. Because they're watching all those posts. They're watching all the false things are produced. stupid videos, defamation on people. We talked about those idiots calling my staff shills. I mean, those days are coming. They don't know what they're in for. I've seen the journey. I don't think these blokes could last, one round of 1 week of affidavits or summonses. So I talked about that in the context of Walt Disney. Great man. Never fear anything. And he had his 4 immortal things that we talk about in our business here that you need to think through. 1, think. For Christ's sake, think. Think about what you're doing. Think about the crypto. Think about the episodes I've talked about. Think about the information that's provided on the internet. Believe. Number 2, believe. If you believe, you'll do anything. I'm having a great time. I believe ZuCoins is going to change the financial system on the planet, backed by all the things we produced. The Medicis in Italy in the 15th century be rolling in their grave that somebody's changed double entry accounting because other people say you can't do it. Well, you bloody well can. Believe, that's the second one. The third, dream. Dream about your boat and your house, your new car, the 30 kids you want to have, the great family environment, going out for a fish, whatever it is. Believe in it. Believe in the risk you've taken with the coins. Those that don't believe, they don't get anything because there's got nothing to believe in. Believe in the faith that you have. Believe if you're going to heaven or don't. Become a don't believer, but believe in something. And finally, what did Walt say? Dare. Dare to do it. And he did. I mean, a $339 billion company built on the back of Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. Bloody cartoon. If he can build a $339 billion company out of Mickey Mouse, guess what we're going to be doing with ZuCoins? Because that's the technology that we've been blessed with, was split lock. Now, people laughed at me about split lock. And in that period that we're coming, this big tech session, season number 2 that you're going to see, we're going to invite the world to have a crack at breaking down some split lock. They won't be able to find where the servers are, let alone putting it back together. And we're going to offer a little prize. Tell us what the PDF says. Let's see all the geniuses have a go at that. Because as my daughter said, Dad, your split lock and your split chain, the best analogy is this. It's a bit like an M&M chocolate. Everybody's protecting the chocolate. All the encryption in the world that we've ever seen is about protecting the chocolate. Well, what you do, Dad, you rejig it up and you create 2 M&Ms. One with caramel, one with peanuts. Now go and find the chocolate. Have a think about that. Now that led us into the final episode 20 on the exchanges. And that's the beauty of why we've focused on and taken our time through that due diligence on Bitrix Global. It mightn't be your cup of tea, mightn't be, it's not the best exchange in the world, but it suits what we want and how we see it. That is, beyond the wallet, we give you protection of the coins. Once you get into that real world, start dipping your toe into this crypto space, every dog and cat's going to come after you. Everybody wants to steal your coins. And there's gaping holes that can happen through the exchanges. Well, Bitrix is 4.8 out of 5 for security protection if you need to reside your coins with them. And you could have multiple reasons. I mean, I'll just give you one. The coins take off. They're $10,000. You don't want to sell. You want to hang on to them. Fantastic, because you haven't satisfied the capital gains tax for 12 months, but they're rising. Now, there will be organisations, and they're doing it now, that will lend you money, non-recourse. That means it's only against the security you put up, which would be your coins, and they may lend you that $10,000. Now, if you've got a borrowing with a bit of interest, If it's in a business, you'll get a deduction. If not, you're paying the interest, which is bugger all. And because you've borrowed the money and you've expended it, there's no tax. But you might need to leave your coins with that institution or through the exchange, which then may need to be in cold storage. If that happens, there's your first risk. Do you get it insured? Who takes the risk? What happens if they've lost? Who's suing who? No one wants to go into the court environment. I love the court, but you guys mightn't have the stomach for it. So that's the wonderful thing about selecting the exchange that we see will give some far superior protection from a group of guys that come from Microsoft that's been dealing with this stuff for 30, 40 years and an Amazon background. And that's what they pride themselves in. So the exchanges, the other three that we've got, we'll roll them out through. Obviously, you guys excited with your 10 coins and your wallet, and then you get your final big lump of coins that you've entitled to. We know we can send you off. You're on your own. At least we've done our job. Because I'm not going to put up with any bitching of the idiots that are going to come out of the blocks and say, ZuCoins cost me or lost me my coins, because we didn't. This is what this record's all about. That's why I've taken the time with season 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my time up, because season 1, the finale, is done. I've outlined exactly what's happening. I've given a recap. I implore you to look at the episodes 1 through to 21, because the action starts now. This is the exciting part that I've been waiting for. And we'll kick a few butts, knock a few heads in, because we are in and heading towards that beach through that massive tsunami, what we're going to deliver. So we are busy. You will be busy. And you're going to have some amazing excitement. And I can't wait. And let's see how many more solar panels are bought. Let's see how many cars come into play. And let's see some real Walt Disney truths happen. Because you're going to be thinking, you're certainly following where you want to be in terms of the 4 items of Walt Disney. And I invite you to look at the history there, because that is a great, great analogy where a humble Mickey Mouse turned into a powerhouse along that journey. So everybody, season 2, I will see you all again, 15th of November. Signing out for season 1. Been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed sharing as much as we could that I wanted to across the board. And I'll see you then. Cheers, everybody.